Hi and welcome to Cheeky Richo's Caramel Macadamia Tart. Macadamias are the Australian bush nut. These are the raw unsalted varieties and we're just going to lightly roast those. Pop them into a really short pastry in a 25cm or 10-inch pie flan with a removable base on a really short nutty flavoured pastry. Doesn't contain nuts. I'll explain that to you in a sec. The ingredients are in the recipe box below. We will be using the ThermoChef, so let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is just pop our nuts into our tray, into an oven, about 180 degrees for about 5 or 10 minutes until they're lightly brown. You'll smell them. Don't let them over brown because they will burn. Okay, to our ThermoChef jug we're going to add our self-raising flour. And don't blink or you'll miss it. This is the healthy component, which is plain wholemeal flour. Now that will give it a nice nutty sort of flavour and a little bit of fibre and crunch to the pastry as well. Followed by our butter. It's been cut into cubes. Now we're going to mix this until it looks a little bit like breadcrumbs or fine sand. Lid on. Okay, speed 4 for 10 seconds and this is what you should have. It's really quite clumpy. The butter is well combined. See that? It's sort of like damp beach sand. And now we're going to use some ice water to bring it all together into a clump. To dribble at a time, just on speed 2. Okay, just tip it out onto your pastry mat. No need to wash the bowl at this stage. You can go straight into the next step, saves on cleaning. I purposely haven't added sugar to this recipe because I will be adding quite a sweet filling and the pastry doesn't need any more sweetener. I just push this all together. Quite a crumbly mix because of the high butter content. It's well combined. Only took a few seconds to make. Just make it into a disc. Wrap it up and pop it in the fridge for about 10 minutes to rest. The fridge we go. Okay, after 10 minutes our nuts have got just the slightest golden colour on them now. We're just going to put them to one side to cool. They'll actually be quite soft but they'll crisp up as they cool. And then we're going to put them in our caramel for our tart. Okay, for our caramel ingredients we're going to add our sweetened condensed milk, our golden syrup, our butter, pinch of cinnamon at 100 degrees on the steamer function, speed 1 for 2 minutes with the measuring cup off. Okay, at the end of the 2 minutes this is what you should have. It's well combined. It's really quite a rich caramelly sort of flavour. It does smell really interesting. And we're just going to add our vanilla now and just let those flavours infuse for a little while. Once it's cooled down a little bit we're going to add our eggs and it'll be ready to pour into our tart. In the meantime we've got our pastry out of the fridge, quite chilled, and we're going to roll it out to the size of our flan tin. I'm going to use some baking paper on top of it because I think it's going to be a lot easier to get along with because the pastry is quite short. That can be used for something else. So just roll that out. The baking paper will stop the pastry sticking to the rolling pin, also assist with releasing it into the pan. Okay, now we just give our pan a light spray of oil so that it releases from all the little flutes when it's cooked. Remove our baking paper and we're going to pop this into our flan tin. Now it'll be a lot easier to do like so. So just peel that back. It might need a bit of persuasion. But how easy is that? Just lift it up and ease it into place. It's going to want to fly to bits because it's so short. Push it into all those little nooks and crannies around the edges. If you make any holes, just repair them. Easy peasy. Now, make sure it's gone into all of those little fluted edges because that's going to give it a nice look when it's served. Don't worry about not being able to release it because when you push the base out, the base will actually pop it up the sides because we've given it a light breeze. Push it right in. And now to give it a nice neat edge, just roll your rolling pin over the top and that will cut it off really neat. See? Told you it was easy. Now we're just going to let that rest for a little while because we don't want it to shrink in our pan. That's perfect. Okay, now we're not going to waste that piece of baking paper that we used to roll it out with. We've got some baking beans here, which are little ceramic blind baking beads. They will weight down the pastry and make sure it doesn't rise too much in the middle, and also cook it from the inside out. They'll absorb the heat in the oven. If you don't have baking beans, and they're not that expensive to buy, you could use rice or any sort of dry bean or split peas or something, but once you've used them, they're not really any good to cook with. So these ones are reusable many times, and you just put them back into their little container. Okay, 180 degrees for about 10 or so minutes, and then we take it out to cool, and we'll be filling our caramel macadamia tart. Into the oven we go. Okay, just while our tart flan is blind baking, we're just going to pop our eggs into our caramel mixture now. Mix it for 30 seconds on speed 3, and it's ready to fill our tart. Okay, 10 minutes later, this is what you should have. It's only just started to cook. We can't put our weights back into their plastic container because it will melt. So we're just going to remove those carefully and pop them into a heat-proof container, and they can cool before we put them away. Now we're just going to layer our roasted macadamia nuts all around the bottom. And don't be stingy with the nuts. This is the whole idea of having such a decadent, delicious pie. It'll be nice and crunchy. They're not salted and they haven't got any oil on them. Lay them all around like so. And then it's in with our caramel. So just pour that all over the top, trying to ensure that the top of all of the nuts receive a little caramel bar. Okay, check that out. Now it's back into the oven, 180 degrees until it's set. The nuts will go nice and brown on top. They might develop a few little cracks in the top of it as the sugar sort of evaporates in the oven. Make sure that all of those nuts have had a little bit of the caramel on top of them. They haven't turned them over. Into the oven we go. Oh, yum, yum. Okay, 30 minutes later, this is what you should have. It's just ever so slightly wibbly wobbly in the middle there. It's well risen. It will sink down again and those cracks will sort of close up, but that smells amazing. This is for a party that I'm going to tonight, and I can't wait to cut it. It just smells so good, it looks so good. It's going to be another table centerpiece. I can just feel it. Thanks for watching.